switch gears real quick. We have a special guest popping in. We got John Bush, Exit and Build. It's coming up. Joshua's going down. He's going to be your DJ. We're sponsoring. We're co-sponsoring this joint down there. How you doing, Johnny?
Hey, how are you? I got Rebecca here with me.
Hello.
Hi, Rebecca. Oh, so nice to see both of you together on a live stream like this. Yeah.
And we got Mason.
Fantastic. So how are you guys doing? And what's the countdown to the next project here? Is it next week?
The event's 11 days away.
11 days. 11 days. It starts May 18th to the 22nd, but the live stream's the 19th to the 21st.
All right. Well, I'm really excited for it. I've seen you guys doing some build up to it. I've seen your live streams on YouTube because I'm subscribed to you, and that sort of stuff pops up. So you're not that banned that I don't get to see it. So I get excited when I see my buddies live streaming. And then the last conference you had a convention center in Bastrop. You had like 500 people there. It was like sold out. I was really impressed with the production value. And I was also impressed with the assemblage of technical know-how, experiential skills and knowledge that you put on the stage. And yeah, is it bigger and better? Was it like the same type of event at the same type of location, or what did you guys change this time?
Well, we definitely have bigger speakers. So we have Jeff Lawton, really excited to have him. Curtis Stone, Michael Reynolds, the Earthship guy.
Richard Grove.
The one, the only Richard Grove to crack some heads open.
You got Patrick Wood.
One thing that Patrick Wood, he's going to be virtual, but we were going to have him in person. He's going to be virtual, but yeah, we're really excited to have him. He's going to talk a lot about the smart cities, which of course is one of the big things we're escaping when we tell people to exit and build. But a big key thing that we're doing, thanks to Amani of Haven Earth PMA, she organized really a whole lot of farm tours. So on the first day, day 1, the 18th, and day 5, the 22nd, for the in-person attendees, there's these 4 different tours that go across Central Texas they can visit to see real permaculture and regenerative agriculture practices live in person, workshops, farm to table meals. And then the meals that we're going to have each day of the conference, the food is going to be largely sourced from these very farms. We're really excited to show it live in the flesh, in the meat, in the food, in the veggies.
Farm to table meals. You can taste the love.
Well, I know you guys
taste the freedom.
Yeah, you guys have been working hard on this project for a long time, and you've consistently built it out, and you have, you don't strive too far so you fail. You just kind of stretch it to, this is the next big step, and we're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to do this next area of development. And I think that getting people out to the actual places to see the permaculture in action and the swales on the land, and, is like Spearco's farm on the tour. Where do they get to go see these various permaculture and agricultural endeavors?
Yeah, so there's one track that I'm actually attending personally. It's the Kingsbury Loop. So we'll be visiting this pecan orchard. Actually, the owner of the pecan orchard is going to be speaking at the event as well. His name's Troy Swift. So Swift River Pecans. They have over 1,000 pecan trees. So it's a pretty serious operation. They make pecan oil, and they bag it and sell it. So it's really exciting to see a sophisticated business endeavor, revenue producing, income producing property like that. And then also, he really has an emphasis on regenerative agriculture. So he does bat conservation. And then James Buchanan will be out there to do a beekeeping demonstration. And after that farm tour, the next drive is to this amazing property called Habitable Spaces. And they'll be serving a farm to table lunch. It's kind of like a micro-intentional community. They have a commercial kitchen. Allison really focuses on cheese. She loves making cheese. And so that's what the workshop she'll be doing. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool though, to take it back to, having those skills and those artisan crafts. So that's one of the tours. There's another loop going to Freedom Farms, which is closer to Bastrop. Darren, we actually bought half of a pig from him. He processed.
We paid for half a pig with Bitcoin.
They're called Freedom Farms, so really cool name for their farm. And also he'll be on the food production panel. And Jesse Elder is another speaker, and he also owns that farm. So we're trying to keep it, really highlighting the local community. There's another farm called Amber Oaks Ranch, and he has a lot of different livestock that he raises, and it's a pretty big operation that he runs.
His logo's at Anarchist A, Amber Oaks. So almost all these people are like total freedom people too. The second piece next to Amber Oaks Ranch is our friend Rita Quinn, who I've known for like 11 years. She was actually inspired after going to the first Exit and Build Summit her and her husband bought a property out in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and they got goats and chickens, and they're really doing it. So it'll be great for her to tell people, like, we were just in the idea phase. We got a kick in our pants, and now here we are.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, they have hesitancy. They don't know how to do things, but once they go and see some people doing it, they're like, "Oh, this isn't rocket science." And you just have to pick something you're interested in, right? You got people who are having these apiaries. They're having their own beehives and then getting honey, and honey's a good resource, and people pay good money for honey, right? Especially when it's local honey, because of the allergies and things like this. People use it medicinally.
Oh, yeah.
So learning how to do that is at the same time, like you're becoming self-reliant, you're emboldening nature, and you're fighting against the 5G and the bee kill off with all the EM radiation, right? So once you find a passion that kind of overlaps with something that needs to be done, that's where people can jump in and engage. And then seeing other people who know how to do it with all their peculiarities and eccentricities, like, oh, I got a pecan farm and I'm all about pecans. It's just like Forrest Gump with Bubba Gump shrimp, right? You got all, and you got all these different types of shrimp and how you can prepare it. That's all you're focused on down there in the bayou. So the other aspect is Curtis Stone is coming to speak. Now, has he spoken at your conferences before?
No, this will actually be the first time he's traveled.
He's been at he was at the Greater Reset 2, actually. He spoke at the Greater Reset 2, but he hasn't came in person. Not
for the Exit and Build Land Summit. So we're really excited to have him. And also back to like monetizing the property and figuring out like which parcel should you purchase. Like buying raw land is a big decision. And depending on what you want to do, really understanding like what the right piece of land looks like for your project.
He's coming from Canada. They got a huge homestead that he built from scratch just in the past few years. So he's really free up there. I did an interview with them and was like, well, picking the property is really important. You guys are like remote and it's off grid, but it's also in Canada, so there's not a lot of freedom there. And he kind of like pushed back, like, everybody says that, but I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I'm close with my neighbors, and like Trudeau really has nothing to do with my life. He's just out living free. So I think a lot of it has to do with first getting out of the city where they're like breathing down your neck. But then it's a perspective and a mindset too. He could focus on all the articles about Trudeau and the latest thing that they're doing with COVID or some nanny state nonsense or weird gender stuff. But he's raising his family out on a farm, and he's never been more free despite the Canadian government being all authoritarian.
Well, we'll see if he has any issues traveling to the conference.
Oh, yeah. He says he always has issues with the TSA.
Well, first they're going to see.
Yeah,
they're going to see he's a regular on Grand Theft World. That's going to be like, right there. They're going to have to give him a special search. And I was really surprised. Well, I've wanted him to go to Exit and Build. And I was saying to Joshua, I'm like, we got to figure out how to get John and Curtis together. And then I don't know how it happened, but it happened. And I'm like, Curtis hasn't left that homestead since COVID. He's been on there for 3 years.
Yeah.
He is making a trip out of his country to come to your event. And I was like, that's a really big deal. And you guys have definitely earned that type of activity from influencers such as him, because he's a multi-layered Renaissance man specialist. And he's got, he's got his internet world, he's got his productivity, but he's got his farm, and he's got like the auto shut off on his interweb at night. So like if we're doing an interview, I got to tell him, hey, your internet's about to shut off, because he got cut off one time. He comes back, he's like, oh yeah, I shut it off for the family so we don't have it running all night. And yeah, he's put a lot of thought into, like, he was the urban farmer and then moving out. So to have such high quality people from all over the world now starting to come to Exit and Build, do you guys have, are you going to take it to other cities at some point? Because not everyone can get to Bastrop, but if you just did like maybe middle of the country and the 2 coasts, and then people would come from like 6 or 7 hours around to get to one of these types of events. Have you ever thought of that type of thing?
Yeah, it might be premature to announce this, but we actually are in talks with Joel Salatin to do it at the Polyface Farms in Virginia next year. So that's something that we're working toward.
If not next year, a future year. Yeah, he was all gung ho.
We can do a really in-depth farm tour and farm to table.
They have workshops,
like an amphitheater,
and everybody loves Joel.
Stage.
We had him for the first 2. He was the keynote for the first 2. We couldn't have him for the 3rd, but still people are like, is Joel going to be there again? Is Joel going to be? Joel Skousen was another person that people were like, oh my God, we want him back.
Yeah, strategic relocation is really important.
Yeah,
so that's something that we're considering for next year. Because as much as we love Texas, we also think it's important to highlight, these farms, and to be able to host it at a farm that has the capacity to have that many people has been the challenge. And that's why, we've done this at the convention center, because it's more of a logistics thing. But
it's also a sales pitch for people to move to Central Texas, not going to lie.
Which has been effective. It really has.
Well, they got their sales pitch up in New Hampshire, the Porcupine Freedom Festival.
That's
They do. And
right?
stiff
They've been trying to
competition.
get,
It's too damn
yeah,
cold up there, though. Too
I
damn
agree.
cold.
Doing a
I
move
agree.
here panel with all the
I want to
different
hear.
freedom places to move to.
Yeah, I've heard the recruiting pitch for New Hampshire and I've resisted it for 15 years. I'm gonna
good
need to hear
pitch.
this Central Texas pitch. I don't know if I can refuse it
We're
that
calling it
long.
Lone Star Libertopia.
Yeah, that's actually one of the first times before I met Rebecca.
I put a support ticket in.
Yeah,
on
we
the
had this
website.
thing back in 2011 or 2012 or so called Lone Star Libertopia, and it was supposed to be like a free state project for Central Texas. And Rebecca emailed us and was like, "Hey, I'm just moved to town. I'm really interested." And I went back and traced the emails. And my friend Antonio messaged and was like, "Hey, it's that blonde girl that we met. She's messaging." And I was like, "Oh wow, she's hot." Sorry. Anyway, the rest is history.
Well, you guys are performing a valuable service to the world and you're doing it very professionally. Like after participating in the last event, I got this nice thank you note. I got this, I got the silver bullet. You guys are very classy and I appreciate that. And I try to also reflect it likewise to show you that.
Yeah, we saw the little stamp thing, the stamp seal.
Yeah,
I thought
that
that
was
was
cool.
classy. That letter you sent us. Wow.
Yeah, learning pen pal skills is a good executive skill that I teach all the graduates about such things, because knowing how to write a thank you note or just write something, the reminder note, these sort of things, thoughts of appreciation, it means so much more when it's intentionally written out and instead of just emailed or texted, So and I wanted to show you that I understand that you put some time into physically moving your hand and ink across the paper, and I wanted to reciprocate in kind.
It's a lost art.
Yeah, there's so many people on the planet that are not consciously checked into the game, so that when you do find other people that are checked in and consciously trying to, like, I see what's going on and here's what I'm doing, and we learn how to work together and we make the world a better place. Like, that's another level than what people like in corporate world ever get to experience. Because the best they get to experience is some people at the bar temporarily hanging out, sharing thoughts. They don't get to those deep, meaningful, substantial relationships, the friendships, the business accreditations that come along with, well, just doing things together over time, right? Because it's not just, exit and build. You had the CBDC, you have the Greater Reset, you got all these things that you guys are doing. You got freedom cells, right? Those are still out there in the world impacting it. Like you and Derek spun up freedom cells, 10 years ago? I still have people I'm meeting today. They're making connections on freedom cells and they're doing potluck and they're doing canning and preserving and doing all these types of activities, because you guys put that infrastructure out there and you just let people go do their thing. And then you went on to more education and, high ticket value exchanges, because the problem of finding your way out of the urban suburban situation and becoming more self-reliant is not easily navigated. There's a lot of pitfalls. Those pitfalls are expensive. And if people can gain and glean from people who have been there, done that, and give you pro tips and how not to do these things that are expensively not productive, that's a leadership position I think is really appreciated by the community, which is why you guys sell out your events and have so many people supporting them and get to grow like this. So what drives what drives the innovation and the things that what keeps you going at this and not getting tired and sitting down and saying, oh, when will it work? When will it work? Because do you get that it's working along the way?
I definitely get tired
of love. It's all to make the world a better place. And I think that's kind of where
I'm profit driven too. But the cool thing is because we're like activists first, and then we became entrepreneurs, became successful entrepreneurs finally, but still haven't even tapped into our true potential. But whenever you start to become more profitable, you have a greater impact. You have a greater impact on people. And when you have a greater impact on people's lives, you're able to become more profitable and do bigger things. And it creates this cycle of exponential growth and impact, which is a very beautiful thing. One thing, as far as innovation goes, I'm always super conscious of the needs of my audience and our community, and specifically the obstacles. And that's I always say that's one thing that sets me apart from other people in our community. But you are on that same page as well, Richard, like helping people identify limiting beliefs, what's holding them back, because it's one thing to share the mechanics and the how-tos, the tactics, that's important, but that's out there. That's on YouTube. That's in a book, right? You can go to the conference and get that speech. But I think what really helps is to help people to identify that more often than not, it's self-imposed obstacles that are preventing them from living a life of their dreams and of their values. And earlier you said, some of the challenges people have, that people don't know how to get stuff done. And it's one thing I realized. We did this survey. There was like 350 people that responded. I have 300 plus pages in this binder, and I'm going through these survey questions, and they were open-ended survey questions, not like multiple choice, which is easier to analyze, but we got a mountain of reading, but we get greater insights into our audience. And one of the questions was, what's holding you back from doing this? What's preventing you from moving out to the country? And money was the number one thing. Finding the right people was another thing. But I just got a sense overall, no matter what the specific thing they mentioned was, a lot of people just don't know how to carry out a project. And a lot of people are just so damn busy and stuck with the inflation and low wage job and just barely able to make it. They don't have the mental capacity to sit down and think a strategy through and come up with, this needs to have, first we need to do A, B, and C. And then after we do A, B, and C, then we can finally do D and E. And it's E that's really necessary to take us all the way to where we want to go. So that's one of the reasons why we want to invite you. That's why we're grateful you guys are sponsoring and participating again, because I think you are really good at helping people to figure out how to get things done. And that's needed a lot in our community.
The first half of Friday for the event is all about mindset.
Yeah,
and coming
mindset,
up with
overcoming
a
obstacles.
plan and figuring out what you need to do in your life to, like, you know, put all the pieces together to the puzzle in order to pursue the bigger picture dreams and goals.
To execute.
Project management, essentially.
Yeah, so you're right about, like, people state their limitations, right? If I had more money, that's the thing that's blocking. Or if I had the right network, that's what's blocking. And then I would say something like, okay, so let's say I take away the money issue and I take away the networking issue. What's your excuse? What's your next? Oh, well, wow, I got some learned helplessness. I have some negative self-talk. Like, I can show you how to solve these two things that you say are the thing holding you back. But if I do that and you're still being held back, you're going to have to say, I got some self-analysis, analytical, questioning of some unuseful beliefs that don't serve me, these sort of things. Get out of our own way first. Then we can grasp the tools to move forward and learn our way through these various challenges. And then your point about the projects is totally true, because people quit on themselves. They don't know how to follow something through to completion and get that reward. And they just keep starting new things without going through that learning curve. And that adds up to not getting projects done. And that adds up to them saying, well, it's not for me, or I'm not good enough, or negative self-talk.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And the money thing, so I did like a spreadsheet and started listing out the common ones and then put little check marks. And the money thing is literally, it's like so much. And it's, the money thing, it's finally clicking for us. And like, it's something I study and I'm just obsessed with. And money, success, reaching people, and through entrepreneurship as the vehicle. And so it seems it's easier for me now, right? But it wasn't without struggle. But the number one thing that was getting in my way, because I was putting in the hours, I was doing cool freedom stuff. And I think I had some solid vehicles before, but they all failed. It's because I was just in this negative space and I was in a toxic relationship and I had so much negative self-talk. And when I would screw up, that's what I would identify. Like, I'd raise my temper for the kids. And then I'd tell myself, I'm a bad father. And that would just manifest itself more and more, can't pay the bills, the business isn't clicking. And I was just in a funk. And when I finally broke through that funk and started believing in myself, that's when everything clicked. And so, yeah, that's why the mindset is such a big piece at Live Free Academy and what we're doing with Exit and Build. Because I have a feeling when, like you said, people can get out of their own way, everything's just gonna be a lot smoother.
All right. So you got me booked for Friday morning to introduce Patrick Wood, correct?
Yes.
To introduce him.
All right. I'm very excited to introduce. Sure. Yeah, I'm excited to introduce him. And I've interviewed him in person years ago, and I have all his books and I know all his stories and stuff like that. So I'll be able to lay out an informative and insightful little ramp right up to what he's about to talk about and make it easy for everyone to hear what he's saying. And yeah, the toughest part of my morning is hopefully just being up and awake by that time mentally. Because usually I save my work for later in the day, and you got it like, it's like 9:30 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning. So I'm going to make it work. That's a good growth triggering of my complexity, and I'm sure it's going to make it extra spicy.
Well, at the in-person event, we have something called a spike up bar. So people can get a nice iced coffee or caffeine or even kratom before the event starts.
That's your incentive. I'm slated to come to the next one because I gave you all my best excuses to be able to. Yeah, so you got me.
Let's go.
All right. So I'm really looking forward to it. Joshua's going to be down there helping you DJ and intro and do all these great things. We're going to have some other Autonomy graduates down there to just help you, get things done and get some testimonials and some footage of the event, these sort of important things. Is there anything that you see on your radar before this big event in 11 days that is still giving you a little tightness and you need some help, or are you guys smoothing it because you've done it before? I just don't want to assume that you've done this all before and you're smoothing it. I wanted to be able to say, if you need something, let's reach out to the audience and get more, of what you need.
Well, we'd love to have more people attend virtually. We could really, use some help promotion and sharing the word, because it is a really, really powerful experience. And just having more people watch it and tune in, even if they can't come in person, I think is something that right now we're really pushing. And it's been interesting the last week or two, seeing the momentum building, and it's exciting at the same time. So we just want to have a big impact and have as many people as possible participate.
All right. So let's check this out then. Now that I know, because it's like the 95% of people who had kind of tuned out because they can't be there in person and they think, oh, I got to miss out. Now they don't have to miss out. You have an online virtual version, right? And
yeah, it's actually free for the first day and a half. I mean, we really want it to be as accessible as possible and as attainable as possible. So literally the first day and a half is completely free. We do
and then
have
as soon as I start speaking, you charge for it. That sounds right. That sounds right.
Well, you've got 30 minutes on Friday morning. We want people to have the mindset, and the Curtis Stone is even on the free day. I mean, we want people to really have that self-empowerment part down as a foundation. The part we're charging for is a little bit more immersive. So we have these like interactive community matchmaking, power networking is what we're calling it. And it's a lot to manage. So we are bringing on a professional matchmaker, community matchmaker. Her name's Cynthia Tina. And obviously we're compensating her for her time to, oversee all of that virtually and getting everyone in the right Zoom rooms and connecting on topics they're interested in. So that portion is the paid portion. And then Jeff Lawton's, very in-depth overview on
Jeff Lawton for 2 hours.
Yeah, for 2 hours, and one whole hour is Q&A. So I think the value is exceeding what we're charging, but we really just want to make it as accessible for folks as possible.
All right. So everybody can come to this. It's free for the first day and a half. And then those who want the more immersive, tactical, strategic, down and dirty, then they get a value exchange opportunity that they can say, yay, no, or maybe later I'll get the replay. Right. So
yeah, well, like you said, connecting with people is, half the battle is one.
The Zoom chat's always fire on your things too. The Zoom is like almost as valuable as the presentation. People are networking and connecting, job opportunities and stuff.
I was looking for property there.
It's cool.
And
we consciously facilitate that, the networking, like
the
Live Free Academy empowerment framework, mindset, strategy, community, and then take massive action. So the community parts, we really can't do it alone. It's critical. But yeah, people get all sorts of bonuses as well. One thing too, if people are interested in helping, we just hired an affiliate director. And so you got a lot of people in our audience, you got a lot of students. We have a very generous affiliate thing. That's a great opportunity for people that are looking to start a side hustle. Yourself, all these other content creators, we're putting out really solid content. And more often than not, we're giving away 20, 30, even 50% commission on $100, $200, $500, $1,000 product. So people within the freedom community, if they can learn to sell effectively and to market online, can start selling products. Maybe they even learn the art of it. They have their own product someday. But if anybody ever wants to sign up for our affiliate program, they could just email us at helpdesk@livefree.academy, helpdesk@livefree.academy. Then they'll help us reach more people. They'll help the people that watch, and they'll get a little piece of the action as well.
And this is something that as we look at the landing page here, I just taught the students about this, in week 6 last week, about affiliate links and how you don't have to have a product as an entrepreneur and you don't have to be an employee. There's a thing in between where you can just know the people who need the thing and get your link, and it can be your favorite product or somebody that you believe in their work and these sort of things. And it can be serious income. So we'll have ours in the newsletter this week for Grand Theft World. We're going to have it in the show notes this week. LD can put it in the various chats on Rumble and Rockfin and other places right now. Everybody can get registered. It's free, and it's free up to the part where it's not free anymore. But you get a lot of free value with Curtis Stone and, Patrick Wood and the other people in the first day and a half. So you guys aren't withholding the value to be behind the paywall. You're saying, here's a bunch of really great insights and experts and skills and experiences, pro tips. And then for the people who are really into this, you got something behind the paywall. So thank you for making something that everybody can show up to, right? I can send this to my mom. I can send this to my brother. Everybody check this out. And, you know, it's only through sharing and caring that we are able to take these ideas forward to more people. Otherwise, it's just us talking in small groups all the time. We got to let more people know, let more people in. And the virtual aspect of this conference, I think, is going to be huge. And of course, people who can be there in person, they're going to be. My buddy Kevin Schmidt's coming from like 4 hours away. It was a good enough pitch that he's like, I'll drive 4 hours to go see this.
All right.
So I've been wanting to connect you guys. Yeah, he's in Karnak. He's on the other side, you know, down by Louisiana. But I've been wanting to introduce you guys to him because I think there's a lot of synergy. That which he has, you might not have. That which you have, he might not have. They might like trade the little chocolate and peanut butter situation. And he also has a nice event center. He has an amazing event center and a farm that has an apiary and pecan trees and all the things you guys are talking about, greenhouses. So you're going to hit it off. I'm sure.
Maybe the next exit and build will be at his property.
Maybe. All right. So people can click the link on the site or in the chat, and you get yourself a little homesteading information, a little off-grid information, a little health information. Just getting better food and ideas in your body is a good start. And then you can strategize toward your exit and build. John and Rebecca, I don't want to keep you guys all night. I know you got other stuff to do, like sleep, and you're putting in a lot of hours with 11 days left. So thank you for giving the audience an opportunity to hear about what you guys are doing and how they can take action in a meaningful way and grow in the right direction. Any closing thoughts, or where do you want them to go next with their thought?
Yeah, just make sure you follow the links that Richard's sharing. We love having Autonomy and Richard and Joshua, DJ Autonomous, as partners in all of this. And, you know, to even add more value to the free thing, because some people are even like skeptical that it's free or whatever. There's actually 4 bonuses that you get for signing up for free. So we really, I know that you put a lot into teaching people how to make offers in your autonomy courses and stuff. So we really put a lot of conscious thought into that as well. So people are really going to be blown away, whether they do the free thing, whether they do the paid thing, and especially if they come in person. And again, it's all about exiting the cities. You know, I've watched this. Somebody shared this Glenn Beck thing. He covered my Agenda 21 research that I used to present to the Austin City Council. Didn't make a bit of difference, just educating them, but there were some cool videos out of it, I guess. And I was like mentioning his book on Agenda 21. Anyway, that recirculated. I started watching it again, and he starts talking about this. Oh, I forget the exact name that they had for it, but you know, this whole concept of herding people into the city, surveillance society, control their movement, environmentalism as an excuse to pull it off. It's been called Agenda 21. It was called Local Agenda 21, but I found this report in 2005 by a professor, and he's like, we used to call it Local Agenda 21, but then the John Birchers and the militia and the Republican conservatives would come out. So now we call it comprehensive planning. It's been called smart growth. It's been called all sorts of stuff. Now it's being called 15-minute cities. So it's most definitely a huge piece of their plan to get everyone into these cities so they can be controlled easier. Resource management, right? That's what Agenda 21 is all about. And
yeah, they put out that map
resources
30 years ago.
Yeah, the Wildlands Project.
Right. And I just heard a clip yesterday from 1991 of Murray Rothbard. And in the speech, he said that the environmentalism movement is the enemy of humanity. And I was like, oh, he got it. Because within a year of him saying that, they came out with Agenda 21 and the Club of Rome, first global revolution, all these sort of things. So yeah, we're in the right spot. We're digging in the right place. We just got to keep digging and dig each other. We got to make more connections.
Well, thanks for y'all's support all the time. We really appreciate it and recognize you guys are always there for us, and y'all keep up the good work.
Right on. Well, we're going to give everyone the link and make sure that as many of us can show up as possible, because it's a life event. These things don't happen the same way ever twice. So when in real life events, even a virtual window into that's more interesting than most other things I was watching on a weekend. Thanks guys for staying up, and we'll see you in a week.
Cool. Thanks, Richard. Take care.
Richard.
Right on.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.